Alright guys, I got a really cool video for you, or well, I think it's a really cool video, and it's going to be a little bit longer though, and a big portion of it's going to be about a fig variety that I haven't talked to you about yet, and I'm really excited about. This video starts back 2 months ago when I originally got the figs. So throughout this video, it's a little bit longer, but throughout this video I've got a couple neat things I've been doing that have been working really well for these figs. So if you want to watch the whole video all the way through, you're going to get those things because they're just kind of throughout the video. If you don't watch it all the way through, you might miss a few of those things. But that's okay, you know, you got the time you got. But what I would recommend is to sit back, get a cup of coffee, and enjoy it and just watch the whole video, right? It helps me out, helps the channel out, and I really appreciate that. It gives me incentive to post more of these videos. But without further ado, welcome to the Black Madeira KK. Check it out, guys. You see this? Today is June 3rd, and it is here. Alright guys, so I have been wanting this particular variety of fig for a while now, and as you've seen through the last few videos, through the spring and winter, I have been really just getting into fig trees more and more all the time and researching it, and it turns out that a Black Madeira fig is the absolute holy grail of fig trees to get, at least as far as I've researched. I had to have this Black Madeira, and so when I obsess on something, I just obsess on it, and I've been researching and researching. It turns out that if you're going to get a Black Madeira, there's several different varieties of Black Madeira that come from different places originally. I think one is from UC Davis, and that's the variety that, Johnny, that's the variety that it turns out you don't want because it just doesn't grow very well or produce very well. But then there's another variety that comes from a guy who has been selling on eBay, or it did in the past few years, and his eBay seller name is KK, and so it just has somehow become called Black Madeira KK. I've been tracking this down and found this awesome YouTube channel called PA Figs. I emailed him, got a hold of him. Guy's name is Nick, and he had a Black Madeira KK fig tree, and I jumped all over it. So it just arrived in the mail today. We're going to check out what this guy looks like. I already kind of popped a hole in the back here. I had to just peek in there and see how things looked, but I thought I'd better show you guys what we got here. So let's get this set up to where you can actually see what's going on. I'm going to angle this down a little bit, and I am really excited about busting into this guy. Actually, let's just put this up on the chair here. Kind of angle that down a little bit more. See what we got. Johnny, you're active today, buddy. We'll cut this open here. He's got this end up so I know where I'm going. And it just came all the way from Pennsylvania, so I'm sure there's going to be some climate differences. I'm sure, you know, this plant is going to be real happy to get out of here and get potted up into a nice big 7-gallon pot. And watered really well, so we're going to do that right away. And he has got this packaged up real nice. Thank you, Nick. And we'll see what we got here. Woo-wee! Well, we got a little bit of a top busted off, but that's okay. We got... what do we got here? We got the tag, Black Madeira KK. Let's pop this open here. Actually did pretty good. I'm pretty impressed from coming all the way from Pennsylvania. That is a nice looking little plant. I like it. That turned out pretty good, and it's still really moist. You guys can see. I don't know if that'll show up on this camera or not. Black Madeira KK, there it is. And the leaf pattern looks to be just like a Black Madeira. I saw it in pictures, of course, before he sent it. But it's got those round lobes. Of course, this guy's covered in potting soil, but it's got them round leaves with the, looks like 3 lobes are wanting to come out here. It's a young tree, so you know, it'll probably show up a lot better when it grows and puts on some size. But We got a real nice bud coming out there. I'm going to go ahead and pot this guy up into a 7-gallon pot and just baby it and treat it real well, and I'm sure we're going to get some nice figs off of this guy. I am just really excited about this. So, thank you very much, Nick. I really appreciate it, man. I'm excited about growing this guy on and seeing how it does. We'll get it in that 7-gallon pot and get this thing growing on real nice. I'll give you guys updates on how it's doing. So anyway, added Black Madeira to the collection. We're starting to take off on these figs, man. It's August 8th. We've had a ton of hot weather lately, and now I wake up to all this fog, and boy, is it welcome. Alright guys, so it's been 2 months since we first potted up that Black Madeira KK, and I wanted to give us a few months here to see how much growth this thing would actually put on and see how well it would do, so that, you know, in one video you could see from when I potted it up until now what it's done, how well it's growing, and what you could expect from a Black Madeira. When I originally got the plant, I potted it up into a 7-gallon pot, and so it's had plenty of room for the roots to grow. At first, it was just so slow and really did almost nothing. It was just on a daily basis, I'd go out there and look at it, and almost no growth. It was, you know, it was hard watching this thing do not much at all, but once it got established in the pot, it really started to take off for a Black Madeira. Now, they don't put on growth as fast as the other figs that I have, and it's one of the more slower growing fig trees, but now that this thing is established in this pot, it's really starting to take off for a Black Madeira. Alright, so here she is, folks, and this thing, if you just you know, remember that last little clip where I first got the thing, it has come a long way. This is the area, see if I can even get down in there, this is the top right here where it broke off in shipping, and you know, that kind of stuff happens. But what I was interested in was the genetics. You know, I know that I'm going to take good care of this thing and it's going to turn into a nice, beautiful, healthy plant, so I wasn't concerned with a little bit of shipping damage. I knew that it had the potential, and this thing is looking beautiful and healthy. It took a while, but it finally started putting out some new growth right here, and it's got another new branch, as you can see right here. And as you can see, it's that Black Madeira KK, and it's doing pretty good. At first it started out small, but it's starting to really take off and put on just some beautiful growth, and I'm really happy with how well it's growing, even though it is slower than the rest. I think once it gets good and established and it really starts getting a strong root base, I think it's just going to take off, especially with the way I'm caring for it. I'm just on almost a daily basis, I'm checking this thing out and making sure it's healthy, making sure it's doing well. In fact, there's the original leaf that was still attached after it came out of the box. It's still hanging in there. But look at these guys, just beautiful spades right here. And you can see it's just got the 2 lobes on either side right there. And I mean, just a beautiful plant. And I want to thank Nick from PA Figs for sending this thing out. I harassed him enough, I think, and he finally got sick of me harassing him and decided to sell me this guy. And I just want to thank you very much, man. You sent me some awesome genetics, and I'm really excited with the future potential of this plant. So thank you, Nick. I also want to show you guys something else, and it was about an issue with the fig tree over at the 40-acre homestead that I was concerned with, you know, what I actually got. Now, I know we don't know the variety of that particular fig tree, but there were some discrepancies with the leaf structure. And if you saw that video where I showed all the roots where the cuttings were stuck right out in the manure, and I'll put a link up in the corner to it here, go check that out. I also in that video showed you the homestead fig tree cuttings that are not cuttings, but the little pieces I had taken out of the ground over there that had some roots and potted up. Their leaf structure was almost round. Some of them had spades, and then the leaf structure of a different one from apparently the same plant were long fingers, almost like a Violet de Bordeaux. So I was really confused to this, and I got a lot of responses back about that. People were saying, Mike, when they're young, the leaves look different. When they grow, they start changing a little bit. So, and then once they get, turn into a nice tree, then you start seeing their true leaf structure. So I want to show you that real quick, show you what they look like now. It's a couple months later, and the leaf structure's definitely changed a little bit, and I think we've got what we're going to have here. May change a little bit more as time goes by, but still no idea what the fig is, and I still need to go over there maybe in another week or so and check out that fig tree, see if those things are ripe yet, and I'll do that. But let's check these guys out now. These guys right here are those plants that originally, these guys had small roots. They were from that 40-acre homestead, and they had small roots when I pulled them out. And they just took off and did real well. They're growing nicely. This is that one in the video that I pulled out, the big fat guy that I showed you guys, that I pulled out of the manure that I ended up saving, and it got well established and is starting to really take off and put some nice growth on there as well. So I'm happy with him. But all of these are the same. They're all from that homestead there, and you can see the leaf pattern. Like, some of them are still kind of more of a round with maybe a couple lobes. And in the beginning I always think, oh, Black Madeira, but there's so many as I'm learning about these that have this style of leaf pattern. But I doubt it's a Black Madeira. But anyway, it starts getting a little bit older growth, and the leaf pattern looks more like this. You've got 3 lobes, maybe 5 lobes there. These guys are starting to come out here. Not the long fingers that we had before, but I think it's starting to, this is going to be its ultimate leaf pattern. If you've seen those videos of the mature tree over there, and then you've seen that this is kind of what the ultimate pattern ends up being, something like this. So anyway, thank you guys for your responses in that. You're right, it does change as they get bigger, and I'm learning about this as we go. I'm still really curious what these figs end up tasting like and what we get out of it, but that's what these guys look like now. I guess while I'm out here and we're talking about figs, I might as well give you guys an update of all the varieties that we have out here that I've been taking care of through the summer. These are everything that we collected last spring going to the different nurseries, and the one that I got through the mail. And so let's take a look at these guys now, show you how well they're doing, talk about what we've been doing for them. Alright, so you can see we have them all in 7-gallon pots, or most of them anyway. All these big black pots here are just 7-gallon, and these guys right here I bought on Amazon. I think they're 16 inches in diameter, and I knew after watching Ben B's fig channel I wanted to do it this way, where I had some form of self-watering going on so that they always had access to moisture, and it's working just fabulous. I mean, these guys never run out of moisture. They're constantly looking good and green and healthy, and it's just the way to go. Maybe there's a better self-watering pot out there, but the idea is to keep moisture for these plants because they grow fast. But you can see this was the original one I bought, first fig I bought, and that's the Desert King. And I showed you guys a video of this earlier in the late winter, early spring, and that's that Desert King I got at the nursery, and it's doing well, putting on a lot of nice new growth. Let's go on down the line here. So this guy not doing so well. We've got the Peter's Honey here, and he's kind of started off real small. I'm not sure why he wasn't putting on a lot of growth. I read that they do grow very well. Maybe it's just because his roots weren't real strong yet or established. But I got a lot of these at Rain Tree Nursery, and they were all real healthy when I bought them and doing well, and so I expect good things from them, but we'll see as we go how they do. This guy's actually picking up though, and you can see a lot of new green stalk growth, and the leaves are starting to get bigger. He just kind of he kind of put on some leaves and then sat still for a while, but now it's starting to pick up. This one's the Latarula, I believe. Yeah, so we've got the Latarula there, and that's the Italian honey, and it's putting on some nice new growth, starting to really do well. As the summer's going on and we're getting some more heat, we're getting more better growth. We had a real cool spring, and I think that had something to do with these guys just taking off slow in the beginning. But a lot of nice new growth there, and you can see, I just noticed we got a little baby fig coming out there. See if I can get that to focus there, maybe. There's a few of them that I just noticed the other day throughout these plants. And then we've got the Olympian, and that's a variety that's been around for like 40 years or 50 years or something, but hasn't been in production, hasn't been sold around here. And anyway, it's becoming more available in the recent years, and so because I live in the Pacific Northwest, about a half hour east of Olympia, I thought, well, how can you not have an Olympian? So this is our Olympian fig, and you can see another little fig coming off of there. Now I'm learning figs, so I don't know if that's going to be a Breba for next year, or if these are going to actually be main crops for this year, which won't do anything because we get too cool too quick. You know, in Southern California they might end up producing, but not here, so the main crop anyway. So if anybody knows the answer to that question, are those main crop figs right there that I'm looking at, or are those Brebas, just go ahead and comment down below. Then we'll go down this row here. Let's back up. This guy I'm really impressed with. This is a warmer climate fig, I thought, but it's doing fantastic here. And at first I was a little bit worried about whether I'd be able to get this to do anything, but I had to buy it anyway. And the people, the Rain Tree Nursery, kind of, when I first was looking at it, I think they tried to steer me away from it because they wanted me to buy, you know, figs that were going to produce really well in this climate. But I was just so into it, I bought it anyway, and I'm glad I bought it, even if it doesn't produce well. But this is a Black Mission, and it is growing almost better than the Desert King. I mean, it's got huge leaves, it's putting on a ton of new growth, it looks really well. And I posted another video a few weeks ago, and a lady said that she lives in Spanaway, which is maybe 25 minutes from me, and she has a black fig growing, I think, in the ground. And she said every year she gets massive amounts of, she has a Black Mission, she gets massive amounts of figs off of this thing, and it produces very well. And so we'll see. I'm really excited about this one. I hope it does well. That's the Black Mission though. And then this one I was really excited about, the Violet de Bordeaux. It's supposed to produce really well in our climate of the Pacific Northwest. Little darker purple, kind of purplish black figs, I suppose. I haven't seen them yet, but there's the leaves, long fingers, which is typical of the Violet de Bordeaux. It's funny how I didn't know anything about figs last winter, and now I'm an expert, right? You just read and read and read and watch videos and learn, and before long you're figuring it out. So no little figs forming on that guy yet, but it's doing pretty well. I pruned it back. I pruned all of them back about a foot high, and they're putting on lots of nice branches. And then we've got our brown turkey, which was kind of like the Peter's honey, and you know, just didn't do a whole lot. It just kind of put on some leaves and then sat there, but now it's finally starting to take off and put on some nice little bit bigger leaves and new growth. And I think it's attributed to all this heat that we've been having lately, and I think through the rest of the summer we're going to get some nice growth on them. And here's my hardy Chicago. That's right, it's so hardy that it just buried its head in the sand and never came up. But anyway, I bought that one at Tractor Supply, and it was on clearance. It was half dead. It didn't make it, to say the least. If I would have babied it more and left it in the hoop house, it might have made it, but that's okay. I guess they're pretty easy to come by around here, so I'll find one at some point. And then I brought the Black Madeira KK out here again. I've had it out in full sun all summer long. Almost as soon as I bought the thing, got it here, I potted it up and put it out in full sun, and it just thrives on that stuff. And look at that green growth, it's just beautiful. All right, and then we've got our Desert Kings here. Now these Desert Kings were taken, cuttings taken off of that one right there, that original one that I bought. And I ended up getting 3 of them to take really well. And here's what I did. These are cool. So if you guys are wondering what these pots are, They're just totes. If you ever had cows or going to feed stores, they sell molasses tubs for the cows, and then people put them out in their pasture and the cattle eat them. They've got lots of minerals and nutrients. And there's a guy with a local beef cattle farm down the road. He's got 130 acres, and he buys these things just by the pallet load and then puts them out for all his cows and collects them out in the field when they're done, and then just drops them off at the feed store, and the feed store just gives them away. So I've got like 20 of these guys now, but they make perfect self-watering pots. I can fit 3 2-gallon pots in there, maybe like 7 1-gallon. I haven't tried that yet, but it's perfect because I put an inch or 2 of water down in the bottom, and all that moisture, that humidity that forms, floats up, hits the bottoms of the leaves, and these guys just have this beautiful humid environment with tons of moisture, and they're growing better than anything else. So I think in the future I'm going to be using a lot of these guys to grow on small figs. I'm just going to use these self-watering tubs, you know, that I'm able to get, and I'll be getting more of these in the future. So I think it's just, you know, it's able to keep a barrier here and just allow a lot of humidity in there with the sun beating on it. And man, those things are just, they're growing almost better than the parent plant there. Now here's one. What was this? Latarula. That was a cutting I took off the Latarula, and it's doing really well. Still growing a little slower, but it's doing well. We'll see how he ends up. And he's in another one of these containers here. So that's the figs, guys, and they're doing pretty well here. I'm pretty impressed with how everything's growing. I think next year they'll just take off now that they're getting some nice root growth and things are doing well here. You guys been following that zucchini plant? Want to see it? Look at that guy. It's amazing. It's out of control, and I don't even know what to do with the thing. I mean, that guy is just gigantic. It's huge. All of them. There's 4 of them planted in a big ball right there, and they're just pumping out massive amounts of zucchini right now. I can't even keep up with it. If you guys want to see how we arrived at this spot, check out the video right up in here. I think it's up in that corner. Check out that video. I'll take you back to part 1, and you'll see how I got here. And then I'll tell you something else in just a sec. So aren't those figs just awesome, guys? I mean, they're doing really, really well right now, and I'm excited to see how they produce in the future moving forward. I think for now I'm going to keep them in the pots and just see how they grow. The one thing I'm a little concerned with that I got to figure out is how to overwinter these things. So some of them will overwinter just fine in this hoop house through the winter, like the Desert King. I'm sure I'll have no problem. The Latarula, the Italian honey, those kind. But with that Black Madeira, I want to make sure we get that thing through the winter. So I don't know, do I leave it in my house? Do I put it out in the pump house? Do I need to have heat on it all winter? What do I do with that thing? I don't know. I've got to research it and research it. I know for sure I'm going to leave it out here until the very end because I want it to acclimate to that cold, but I don't want it to get into any deep freezes out here because I don't want to have problems with that. But you definitely want it to acclimate to the cold. So it'll be brought out into the hoop house once we start getting cooler and cooler, and we'll let it acclimate to the cold. Along with that Black Madeira KK, there's something I was doing that I haven't told you guys yet that I think contributed, not just the heat here, but I think contributed to the awesome growth I've been getting the last couple weeks. And that is, if you saw that video of the zucchini, and I'll put the link up here in the corner, if you saw that video, I've been urinating on that thing. People were asking, does it work on anything else? And this was a test. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this here because I know this issue, just some people really don't like it. But I'm telling you guys, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch that video and learn a little bit about it. But I wanted to test this theory about urinating on plants on a slow growing variety of plant. And I know I was taking a chance with this thing, but it doesn't matter. I've been out there taking a leak on that thing straight on, no dilution, probably 4 days a week, and it started taking off, putting on tons more leaf growth, and it just, that's what has gotten it to the point you've seen it at now. It didn't matter. I put organic fertilizer on it. That helped green the leaves that were already there, but nothing seemed to really help until I started whizzing on my plant. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter that it's slow growing, it's working, and that thing is growing fantastic. So if you guys want to try it, I'm telling you right now, it works undiluted. It's probably the best miracle fertilizer I've ever come across. If you have a plant that's not doing well, it's turning yellow, it's not performing like you want it to. I don't care if it's a fig, I don't care if it's a zucchini, I don't care what plant it is. I've actually been trying this on other plants too that I'm not even filming here, but you know, I can't constantly keep a camera hooked to my head all the time, but it's working, and it's working undiluted. So I'm telling you guys, it works. But anyway, fun fig video here. I just wanted to show you guys that Black Madeira KK, show you what's been going on with it. Thank you, PA Figs. Thanks for sending it. Thanks for the genetics. It's a really beautiful fig. It's healthy. We're going to take good care of it. And I'll show you the figs when they actually start producing. So, until next time, have an awesome week. And I'll see you guys in the next video.